Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. All right, well, welcome to the Flagstick Podcast. I'm Jeff Botter. He's Scott McLeod, as we always are every week. The Flagstick Podcast this week sponsored by Cobra Golf and Cobra Golf's new King Tech X one-length irons designed for a wide variety of handicaps. The King Tech and King Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today for a better ball striking experience. Visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. Before we get started, just remember you should be following across all social media networks, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. And please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And, of course, we do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which many of you do. Like us and click the notification bell to make sure that you never miss anything that we happen to post up on that channel.
You got it.
On the show this week, we're going to obviously get you all caught up on current events on the front nine, including some news from some of the pro tours. But on the back nine, we're going to discuss a recent guide that was published by the R&A on golf in small spaces and why it will be important to the future well-being of the game. Sounds like an interesting topic. I'm curious to get into it myself, but let's get to the front nine. Presented by Metcalf Golf Club, a natural setting, a pleasant challenge. Metcalf Golf Club's Black Friday sale will be running from November 26th to December 2nd. It's perfect for Christmas gifts. Great deals on twosomes, foursomes, and more delivered right to your inbox. Visit metcalfgolf.com. Boy, Scott McLeod, that's a lot, eh? Like, I mean, I'm kind of thinking somehow I need to shorten that intro. There's a lot of information that I have to spew out in about 2 minutes.
And I'm just waiting, like, will he stumble? Will he get through it?
Didn't stumble at all, man. I burned through that. I had a good
nice
sleep last night. I did have a good sleep last night. I probably had a good 7 hours, even after getting home from the rink at 11:30. I slept in a little bit, got my 7 hours. I feel bad for my son Brandon because he played last night at that rink.
Off to school.
He was up at 6. So
I was up too late watching the World Series, which I don't know, somehow it drew me in to watch the finale there, but whatever the case.
Nothing about baseball draws me in.
Yeah. But hey, You know what? You got that King Tech X one length all
I know, it's like a tongue twister, but I got it in. And what cool looking irons too, man.
Dude, it's the 5th iteration for them. We've got more info up on flagstick.com, and I can't give away too many hints, but they've got some other cool products coming, like really cool stuff that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time for particular reasons. That's as far as I'll go on that. So,
all right.
Teaser.
See, it's the teaser. Embargo. Zip. Yep. Say nothing.
It is embargo season. So.
Yes, it is. Okay, so unfortunately, we are talking October 31st. We are talking Halloween.
Yes,
we're recording on Halloween. It's a little spooky. No, it's not. It's not spooky at all. What's spooky is the number of leaves I have on the ground down at my mom's place that I have to go and mulch up because I refuse to rake leaves.
Is there a lot of there's a lot of trees there, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. It's that property is completely full of leaves. But we've had 2 days of warm, windy, dry weather, which means I can take the tractor down, put the mulching attachment on it, and chop them all up and then blow them away.
You want to come down to my place?
No,
because I've got all the neighbors' leaves. So here's a question.
Blow them back over the.
That's
fence.
What I was going to say.
Damn right.
What do you do? It's a rental over there. Should I just
blow them back over the fence? Is what you do.
All right. Game on.
Yeah, exactly. Just scoop them up and dump them. I wouldn't be bagging them or anything. Just let them deal with that crap.
Well, 3 big maple trees that hang over our fence. So yeah, not great. So anyways, I'm sure other people have the same issues. Yeah.
Sadly, we must say that this is probably the last weekend of play for many of our regional golf courses, at least in our Eastern Ontario region. A little closer to the Kingston area, maybe they drag a little bit longer, and then as you get to Toronto, there's probably courses that'll be open well into December in Toronto, but that's a different animal on itself. Many courses are doing some different things, running shotgun starts, limited daylight hours out there. So I mean,
Got to maximize it.
and days like today, all of a sudden it's 21 degrees out yesterday,
Crazy.
and you couldn't get a tee time at a golf course if you
Oh,
tried.
no,
Like, I
no,
mean,
no.
forget it. If you think, oh, it's a great afternoon, I think I'll go play golf. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like
The
play
win
golf
the
in your
win
play
the
golf in
window
your
is this
basement
big.
with your Wii. That's what
Yeah.
you're doing because you're not getting a tee time.
No.
But now, the courses are preparing for sort of the indoor seasons if they have the amenities. So
Yeah.
courses like Falcon Ridge,
Mm-hmm.
longtime sponsor of this podcast, they have their sims open and running.
Right. Yeah.
For TrackMan sims indoors,
Yeah.
and ready to go. They'll probably stay open. I don't know when they're actually closing. They generally do drag out a little bit longer if the weather holds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they could have both open, and a few
Yeah.
facilities will have that. I mean, it's not easy to staff it if you've got both indoor and outdoor. But most people want to squeeze the outdoor season as much as they
Oh,
can
absolutely.
before they think about cleaning up those clubs and getting inside. But
Interestingly enough, a place like Falcon Ridge, I mean, as long as the weather holds,
yeah,
even if the course is closed, they can run the TrackMan outside
of course. Yeah,
because
they've
they
got the
got the range, they
range.
got the
Yeah,
TrackMan range, so they can run
yeah,
the TrackMan sims outside. So you're actually hitting balls outside, but you could be playing golf courses on the screens.
yeah.
So
You
that's
can.
kind of a cool thing,
Yeah,
which they can do at Royal Ottawa too. But I mean,
yeah.
will they? I don't know. Um, we're working on updates to the indoor golf course directory, which we'll get that. It takes time because there's so much
Oh
change this
man.
year. Like
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on with new facilities opening
yeah.
and changes to facilities that have been open. So
And
we'll get those things up
yeah,
and running. But
and just confirming as well that what we've had in the directory in the past, those are still relevant. We don't list the number of sims or nets in each spot in there because that's difficult to track, but certainly, I mean, I just noticed another location just last night, so probably 10% more locations in that
mhm.
directory for Eastern Ontario, Western Quebec than there were last year, but still confirming some. And we're getting, I put out some messages on social media and just hoping for people, if they know of something that we haven't seen, and we have seen a
Yeah,
bunch,
let us
if
know.
they,
Like
yeah,
this
let us
is
know. We need to
we're
crowdsource.
exactly. So yeah, unfortunately, the season is coming to a close. So
Now, are you done outside? You're done. No more golf
oh
outside for
gosh,
you,
no,
or
no,
you're
I
gonna
will
try?
not. Well, I say that, but was just talking last night with my son Brandon. We're driving back from the rink, and we have a tournament coming up in Mississauga. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
Right. You're gonna
And
try?
we're gonna if we'll look at the weather
Right.
before we leave. If the weather looks good, then we'll pack the clubs.
Mm.
The hotel we're staying at is right near oh my gosh, the name of the golf course just friggin' eludes me right now. It plays on either side of a ravine. I want to say is that Royal Woodbine?
Yeah, could be.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
it's
not
by the
sure if they're
airport,
still open.
right,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
by the
yeah,
airport.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that golf course that we usually can see from the hotel room,
Right.
and it's always been open when we've been up for this tournament. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other one that we were looking at possibly, it depends. Like obviously we want to play on Sunday because that means you're going through, right? So,
Sure. Yeah.
but if we're not in the tournament on Sunday, then we're thinking it might at least stop at Harmony Creek on the way back.
If it's still open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that usually is this time of year. Like it usually is still open. A lot is
Right.
still open up there, but if it's still
Yeah.
open, then just pop into me. But other than that, no, I'm done. I mean, I
Yeah.
played 2 rounds last weekend, and that was just pure hell. Like I don't freaking know. The Saturday wasn't bad. We played Cloverdale on the Saturday. Bumped into Martin Patterson out there. Had a good chat.
Nice.
Um, it was 10 degrees or 11 degrees. It was really
Mm.
sunny, but it was super windy, but it wasn't as
Yeah.
cold. Then we played Metcalf on Sunday, and that was just no.
Yeah. I
I
snuck
could
out.
not get through that round of golf fast enough to be done with it. It
Yeah.
was freezing cold. It
Yeah.
was windy. There was no sun. There was leaves. I just don't like playing golf like that.
I showed up Saturday at my golf course thinking, oh, I'll just get some practice in or whatever. And our Dale Peterson, our pro, basically said, hey, there's a group going out. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then it turns out they were in a scramble with like 6, 7 other groups that regularly play. So
Okay.
won a scramble. It was fun, but yeah, again, the weather, it was like, we had to wait till about the six hole or so forth where there was, kind of no wind, where you're like, okay, I can handle this.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've got one more game left for me. I've got one scramble tournament coming up on Sunday out at Loyalist. Um, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. The clubs will go away for outdoors season, that's for sure.
Good plan. Okay. So that's where we're at with that. Henry Brunton.
Yeah.
Great guy. Named to the PGA of Ontario Hall of Fame.
Yeah, great for him.
Very good.
Tuesday night that took place at the Glen Abbey Golf Club. They had the PGA of Ontario annual awards, and he was inducted there. If people are not aware, Henry is originally from Kemptville, Ontario. Started at Rideau Glen, and born in Ottawa, raised in Kemptville. Lives in Stouffville now, and Florida as well. Got started, like I said, at Rideau Glen, then worked at Rideau View. They always claim Rideau View's own. And then he went on to become a PGA of Canada Master Professional, multiple time award winner, and the first Team Canada men's coach in 1999. So, did a lot in the business. Certainly, there was a lot of response to the social media posts that we put out. He had a lot to do with how the high performance program is now. He was an innovator as far as that was concerned. Even Derek Ingram, the current national team men's coach, gave praise for him for that. So great honor for him, and nice to see.
Awesome. Awesome. Some other significant Canadian golf news from the tour last week. Richard T. Lee finished second on the Asian Tour International Series in Thailand.
Yep.
And Brooke Henderson.
Yeah, hard to believe.
My goodness, Brooke. She surged up there pretty good on the weekend to finish T10 at the LPGA Maybank Championship in Malaysia. Yep. It was her 81st career top 10 on the LPGA Tour.
It's funny to say when
it's insane because she's
only
not
27.
She's
27.
Old. I mean, she's
just turned 27.
But that's good for her. I mean, I know there have been some naysayers and some critics about her, myself included. I mean, I'll throw myself into that mix of where I've been critical of the way she's playing, and we have such high expectations for her, and I'm sure she has high expectations of herself.
Yeah.
Now, is the criticism that has been warranted? I think so in some respects. I think it is. But it's not that she sucks at golf.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's not. That's not where the criticism, at least that's not where my criticism of her, where she's at right now. That's not where my criticism is. And I'm not going to get into what my criticisms are, but it's not her ability to play the game of golf. It's got nothing to do with that. Yeah. It's other things that outside noise, if you will. But
here's the thing: 81 top tens.
Yeah. Now, how many others have done that?
Well, here's the thing. Now we break it down. Well, she's chasing Laurie Kane right now Laurie had 99 top tens. The other side of it is, I think we're at 100 and it should be 144 or 145 top 25s, which, a lot of people are like, oh, well, top 25. That level of consistency is damn hard to do and to perform. So to be there. So it's always with her, we have high expectations for her. 13-time LPGA Tour winner, hasn't won this year, but certainly is going to give it her all to try and get in that winner's circle before the year ends. So good on her. And she's playing this week in the Japan Toto Classic.
Yes.
Started a couple under par last night. And we'll see how the rest of the year plays out for Brooke.
Cool. Cool event on the PGA Tour. This is the PGA Tour LPGA mixed team event that's played December 13th to 15th at Tiburon in Naples, Florida. The teams have been announced. 16 two-player teams featured 24 of the top 50 players in the world. And among the teams will be Canadians Corey Connors and Brooke Henderson, who will reunite after finishing second last year at minus 25. They'll get back together and see if they can't improve on a second place finish by, it's kind of hard. The only way to improve on how you played the year before is to win.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about pressure. I'd almost rather have finished 15th the year before and go, okay, well, the only way I can improve is to finish one spot higher than I did. Right.
Yeah. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Would you be more interested in watching this event than a standard PGA Tour event?
Yes. I love
I
this. I used to love the Wendy's where
right,
they had the
yeah,
three
tour
tour
challenge.
challenge. I thought
Yeah.
that was, and I'd like to see them bring that back. I think that would just be the bee's knees. Like that,
The bee's knees. Thanks, Grandpa.
well, if this was a podcast that was on Sirius XM radio, I'd say something else, but it's not.
Yeah.
We're family friendly here on the Flagstick podcast, so it's the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
think that would be just a. I love this. I love it, especially this time of year because I think this is when you are, you're scrambling a little bit as a tour to get people to watch golf, and
oh
it's not,
yeah.
and it's sad in a way because the tournaments that are going on in the PGA Tour right now, the FedEx Fall Series or whatever the heck they want to call it.
Yeah.
I've tried to figure out all the points. I actually went online and read about like tried to teach myself to understand what it is they're playing for, and it's kind of
Oh
like it used
my.
to be where you get
Yeah.
your top 125 and then there's the next grouping and they play the fall series to see who gets into the, and it's like, oh my gosh, just give me
Look,
something to watch. So this
look.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see more of this kind of stuff this time of year because I think people will tune in to watch. Like I know I will watch this. Like this is
Well,
interesting to me.
I think this is sort of plays into where a lot of the tours are trying to go. They have to have events that show a little bit more personality, have a little bit more variety. I mean, this is the reason why, and we've talked about extensively on the show. This is why, social media and YouTube, long form content, not just the short form social content, why it's successful is because you're able to develop personalities and see players in a
Mm-hmm.
different light than maybe the snippets that you see during a tour event where it's just shots. um, this gives you an opportunity to see their reaction to each other, interact with each other, more how you play with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that appeals to a lot of people. Granted, they've obviously got to compete with other sports, specifically, football in the US. For eyeballs, it's hard to get eyeballs this time of year, but certainly these more fun type events I think will draw a little bit more interest. And there's fans on both sides, and this is the whole deal. You've got LPGA fans, you've got PGA Tour fans. They're not
Mm-hmm.
always the same people.
No,
So
but now
this
you
is
bring them together.
right. This is a chance to cross them over. It's the same as as you said, if it was the Champions Tour and stuff like that. So admittedly, I have not watched a lot of PGA Tour golf this year. I've watched it when I've had to. I've caught up on all the events. I'm obviously aware of all the things going on, but it's really hard to sit there and watch an entire broadcast. This is more likely something I will catch longer pieces of,
Yeah,
just to see the personalities of those players. And there's some great teams here and some of the best players. So I think that makes it more interesting to a lot more people.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
And to further, you mentioned about the points, and I think I mentioned on the show before, it's hard for anybody to follow
You can't
to
follow
the
it.
to the
Sorry,
point
you
of
can't.
I've climbed under the rope. I remember walking with two PJ Tour players one time at the
Try to
Canadian
get them
Open.
to explain it to you.
No, 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 no. The funny part was the one player was actually had got a tour official to come out to visit with them. He wanted to find out where he stood and what everything meant. This is at the start of the FedEx stuff or whatever, because he was totally confused. His agent couldn't explain it to him, so he wanted to find out where he was, and relative to what he had to do to kind of maintain his status and stuff. And this is only probably going to get a little bit more complicated because there's some voting going on right now for some changes on the PGA Tour where they're going to possibly restrict the number of players out there, have smaller fields, have less cards for particular things. And the thing is if it's changing every single year, it's hard for the players to follow. It's even
Mm-hmm.
harder for the fans to follow, and also to make the fans invested or interested in it, because all they want to do is see golf. They don't want to have to deal with everything behind the scenes. I mean, we want to eat the sausage, right? We don't want to see how it's made. That's how it works, right? So
I
the
would have
same
used
for
a
this.
different reference other than
Yeah,
sausage. That's fine.
whatever. We want to eat the pizza. We don't want to see how it's made. So
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Although I do like watching the TikToks on how they make pizza right now.
Do you?
Yeah, there's
Pizza
there's a couple
TikTok.
there's a couple of them that I really like. One guy, the one New York, I think they're from New York. Yeah, I
Young
do
guy.
like watching how they make
Young
the
dude.
pizza. There's a bunch of them. There's a young guy has
Yeah.
hat on backwards. They're all in New York. New York.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I will tell you. Yeah, I actually made a recipe last week from TikTok based on a TikToker I had met during an event, and the recipe actually turned out okay. So some of them are crap, but this
yeah,
one was actually good. So
I'm all for the air fryer recipes. So
There you go.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure. Now, yeah, my phone's going to hear that. It's going to be all of a sudden. Oh, that's all I'm going to get served today is
That's all I
TikTok
get.
air
That.
fryer recipes. All right,
Okay. So
next.
on that note of this time of year with respect to the tours and stuff, we got to talk quickly about PGA Tour Q School. The final first stage site for the PGA Tour qualifying is underway this week in Ocala,
Yeah, this was
Florida.
the one. This one was the one that was delayed because of Hurricane Milton a few weeks
Right.
ago.
So there's 7 Canadians in the field, all looking to get inside the top 21 in ties to advance the second stage. So
Yeah.
I just want to weigh in quickly on PGA Tour Q School. I wish they would go back to the old way.
How
I
so?
I want them to go back to having a Q School where PGA Tour Q School qualifies you for the tour,
You
not the
can.
Corn
No,
Ferry Tour. No,
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 you
no,
can.
not. But remember when McQuillan made it
Yeah,
under today's standards, he would not get a PGA Tour card. He would get a Corn Ferry card.
correct. There's only 10 spots, I believe. So,
So
yeah.
so I like the fact that they had that sort of flash in the pan, one shot opportunity. Guy plays really great for a stretch of a month or so to and gets his PGA Tour card. I like that
Well, it still
format.
exists. They brought it back the last couple of years, so you can get a PGA Tour card from Q School now.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, now I
So,
sound stupid.
but that said, they are discussing whether that number will stay the same or not. So yes, that exists. Their whole thing is that they want players.
Well, I want to delete this podcast then because now I sound stupid. People are going to be listening, going, "He just ranted off about something that's been in existence for a while."
Well, but this is the problem.
What a dumbass! I'm stupid.
No. But this is the problem, though, is that it changes so much and changes all the time that not only do
people in the industry who should know don't know because they can't figure it out.
Well, because
why can't you people get it right? The NHL can't get the playoff format right. The PGA Tour can't get the friggin' Q School format right, or the FedEx Cup. Everything is wrong. Now, do I have the answers? No, I don't have all the answers. But lock me in a room for a month and I'll figure it out. Like these people sit in boardrooms all the time talking about this crap, and they can't figure it out. Nobody likes the FedEx Cup format, including the players. Figure it out.
Look, nobody will ever be happy with it, so there's no sense in wasting energy on it.
Back to having a money list. Top 125 off the money list get their PGA Tour cards for the next year. End of story. Done and done. Done and done.
I mean, do you really care?
I care that I understand what I'm watching. That's what I care of. To me, every tournament I watch is one tournament. That's why the money list was so great. Okay, the old school money list, just to have a money list. That's why it's so great. Every tournament was a tournament in a singularity. Not one tournament had anything to do with the next tournament, or the next tournament, or the next tournament, or the next tournament. There was no. The Tour Championship was the top 30 on the money list that played in the Tour Championship. That was the Tour Championship. Not what it is now, where your FedEx Cup winner,
let's not
wins the Tour Championship.
We're gonna waste more time on this.
This is the problem. You get these rants going. Okay,
but this is no different than a lot of other sports where they're gonna sit there and go, if this scenario and this scenario and this scenario, and the problem
like a computer program, if then.
Right. But the issue with all of this has to do more with overall the business of the game more than anything. Exactly. And that ends up complicating it because they're trying to deliver as much as they can for those particular sponsors and make them happy rather than make the players and the tour happy.
Money ruins everything.
Right. Yeah. So
ruins everything. Okay. All right. So last thing on our list for the front nine here to discuss, Golf Management Institute of Canada is celebrating a milestone. It's our great buddy, longtime friend of the podcast, longtime friend of Flagstick.com, longtime friend of Flagstick Magazine, going way back to the day. Congratulations, Grant Fraser, on celebrating the 25th anniversary of the GMIC, the Golf Management Institute of Canada. In the last 25 years, has become a key educational resource for many people in the golf industry in Canada and beyond. This is really exciting.
Graduate,
not graduate. Congratulations, Grant. Awesome work. I remember when Grant started it all. Like, this is going
99.
19, like when I first talked to him at golf shows that he was looking at doing this.
Yeah.
And he did it, and he's still doing it, and it's big. Excited, so excited for Grant.
Yeah,
Such
I
a big
mean,
deal.
there's so many people that have come through this program and have become instrumental in the golf industry. And I mean, I was fortunate. Grant asked me to write a little, in a testimonial to go in the press release or whatever. And basically what I said is just, I was fortunate how many people I met through there that I'm still friends with, 15 years later. And the fact is that, you start to ask people who took courses or took the whole program, whether it was when it was affiliated with Laurier or McMaster, and, it's just continuous.
Mhm.
So yeah, to be around 25 years later, congratulations, Grant.
Awesome. All right. Well, that wraps up our front nine. Good front nine. When we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to get into a discussion about golf in small spaces on the back nine. So stay with us. You're listening to the Flagstick podcast with Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod. We'll be right back. Cobra Golf's new King Tech X, and King Tech X1 length irons designed for a wide variety of handicaps. The King Tech and Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today for a better ball striking experience. Visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. Well, welcome back to the Flagstick podcast. I am your soon-to-be no longer host, Jeff Botter, and I'm with Scott McLeod.
He's kidding.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But I'm dumb. Anyway.
Hey, it's only 2 years. It's only the second year that they've started
2 years. How long
hey,
have
and I said 10.
This?
It's 5 PGA Tour cards.
I'd rather have been wrong on the number of cards than wrong on the fact that there were no cards at all.
Yeah, whatever.
Bonehead. I should turn my hat around backwards and act like a
bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I should do something.
Anyway. Anyhow.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from that. Okay, so we're going to get into our back nine here. Back nine presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Course, an indoor golf facility. Another outdoor golf season may be coming to an end. Sad. But that means that another indoor golf season is about to begin. Glad. Featuring 4 state-of-the-art TrackMan sims. There are over 350 courses on these sims to choose from, including many PGA Tour courses. They also have beverages and light food available and are open and ready to help extend your golf season well into the spring. Visit falconridgegolf.ca for more information or to book a tee time.
You got it.
Inside or outside right now, but inside.
Mm-hmm. Fun games too. That's the other side of it too. People should realize, if you're not just going there to play rounds of golf, there's lots of kids games. There's lots of all sorts of, there's mini putt now on TrackMan. So there's lots of different things that you can do there. So there's entertainment for everyone. It doesn't have to be just a diehard golfer.
Exactly. There you go. All right. Scott, why don't you set this up? We're talking golf in small spaces. This is a study that you just recently read and wrote an article on for flagstick.com. So let's get up to speed on what the study was about, and then we can get into some discussion points.
Well, carrying over basically what I was just talking about, the fact that not everybody is, a hardcore golfer, and they have to come to the game. They have to have an entry point in some way. The RNA just published a guide that's about the types of golf in small spaces and golf in small spaces and why it's important to the future of the game. So this is a study they did with the European Institute of Course Architects. And basically they're saying, hey, you know what? Urban areas are getting bigger. Land use is getting more and more difficult. Acquiring land is more difficult. There's also more ways that people need entry points into golf, not just playing your standard 18-hole round of golf. So as a result of it, they've kind of looked at it a little bit. Now they're providing some guidance and examples more than anything of one, case studies, and also realizing that golf is golf, and there's lots of ways to think about golf in shorter forms, be it mini golf, pitch and putt, intermediate golf course, 3, 6-hole, 9-hole layouts. And they're a significant entry point for ways to people enjoy the sport in concert with, they're not totally replacing traditional length golf courses. Yeah, I know I've got mics going everywhere, so I'm fired up.
Take it easy there. Holy
Um,
mackerel! I thought I was fired at PGA Q
because
school.
one of the things they looked at, and especially when they look at the market, the growing market of people that are coming to the game, there's a higher number of women that are coming to the game. There's also a lot more people that are under the age of 35 as well. So, what we thought of golf sometimes as the traditional way to play, or what a lot of people thought of, oh, as we go and play 18 holes, well, let's say some people, I won't say us, because we've had experience growing up, playing nine holers and alternate stuff, but it's going to become more and more important as, populations grow in urban areas. Let's say Ottawa, for an example, where we're at, the population is getting bigger. It's pushing available land out further. And that means the people that live inside the urban areas, the kids that grow up in downtown large cities, may not get the same exposure to golf, but they can get exposure to golf through other formats. So this is what it's sort of exploring. So what I really want to talk about is why that's important, why we think it's important, what the role of these facilities had on us, for an example, and people that we know, and then kind of go from there.
All right, there you go. First of all, if
So,
I were building a golf course today,
yeah.
if I had the land and I were building a golf course today, I would centralize my clubhouse and I would build four or sorry, I would build multiple loops that came back to the clubhouse. So I might have multiple 3-hole loops that came back, totaling up to 18 holes, or I might have, a 6-hole loop that came back, and then a 3-hole loop and a 3-hole loop, and then another 6-hole loop that came back, so that you had these options. Or someone wants to play 6 holes, they can play 6. They want to play 3. Now, logistically it becomes a little bit of a pain, but there's ways of doing it so that if I want to play 9 holes of golf, I can go out and play 9 holes of golf and come back to the clubhouse and I'm done. If I want to play 6 holes of golf, I'm still going out like a 9-hole round. Right. But my first 6 holes comes back to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So then I'm done. If I want to play 3 holes, like there's ways of doing it so that you can, you can do this appropriately. Anyway, that's that. And I don't think that's a golf in small spaces thing. I think because it's still 18 holes of golf. But to the point of what we're discussing here, when we're talking about time considerations, space considerations,
right?
I think that the smaller space facilities where you're incorporating driving ranges, short game areas, 3-hole loops, and using up so much less land and so much less time. Yeah, you're getting the best of all worlds, right? If you just, I think one of the things I think that we're lacking in this area, particularly considering the size of this area, that I think would just be an absolute gold mine if somebody ever built it, is a pitch and putt. Like we remember in Kissimmee, we used to play the $1 Million Mulligan. Yep. This place was awesome. Like just awesome.
A factory.
And it was like the holes were cool. Yeah. But there was no hole over 60 yards, maybe at most, I think.
All lit up because it was in a small space. They also had a small driving range that was there as well. Yeah. They had a mini putt that was attached to it, and it was probably all built within 4 acres.
Yeah.
And the fact is that, some of these places have gone away, and there's land pressures. There's pressures with the ownership if somebody's there for 20, 30 years and they want to sell off the land and things like that. But I think there's a gap in the market for
Big
sure.
Time.
No, it's great if you have the space as it is. So we'll call it, for Ottawa, for an example, the Marshes out in Canada, has a mini putt, has an executive golf course, has a driving range, has a full length golf course. But that's pretty rare because now we're talking about a big space, and it's hard to get that. So why small spaces becomes important is because they're little slivers of golf. They're also incubators to bring people to the other facilities, because I think what people forget is that people just don't go from sitting in their living room to being on an 18-hole golf course. Some do, but in most cases, it puts a lot of pressure on them because they don't have the skills to be out there. They get pressure from current golfers that are out there. They get intimidated. It becomes very frustrating. You need those entry points. Now, we were fortunate because we had municipal golf courses, which there were more of, back in the day, 9-hole golf courses where you kind of had the freedom to go and make mistakes and learn to play the game,
Yeah.
and then you're not as intimidated as much. And we're missing a lot of that throughout North America right now, but we
Yeah.
are seeing some resurgences. But yeah, definitely there are opportunities here for operators that are interested, because the business case becomes important here as well.
Mm-hmm.
People are not going to do these without making money, but we're also seeing the rise of indoor sim places. We're
Yeah.
seeing lots of different things that are happening here. So, I mean, I know for us, I mean, think about that. And for us, and I know a lot of other golf journalists and other people that are involved in the game, if they didn't have those type of facilities, they probably wouldn't be in the sport. And the fact
Yeah.
is, most tour pros, if you look at them right now, the successful ones in Canada, for an example, most didn't come out of an urban environment. They came out from country golf courses, courses in small towns, because it's about access. It's about
Mm-hmm.
affordability. It's not a case of going, oh, I'm growing up in Toronto and I've got to be a member of a private club. That's not access. A lot
Well,
of those people will choose other things to do.
the problem too is that when you're talking about access and the cost, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter so much if it's a municipal golf course or what the
Or
case is.
public.
Like
Yeah.
if 18-hole golf courses, if you're maintaining them properly and you're running them properly, they cost a lot of money to operate, which
They
means they're
do.
going to cost a lot of money to play.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. The only way to circumvent the cost is, number one, you can be subsidized by a city or a township, which is very rare these
Yeah.
days. I mean,
Yeah.
Bell
For
Park
sure.
Fairways down in Kingston, when it was open, was cheap golf. It was not the greatest maintained golf course on the
No,
planet,
nor did
but
it
it
have
was
to be.
cheap golf. A junior membership was like $100,
Yeah.
and a senior membership was like $250. Like it was like whatever. They just do as much as they need to do to keep it running, keep the cost down nice and cheap, very little
Hmm.
staff, all that kind of stuff. Well, those days are kind of gone. I mean, there are some courses like that, but it's too expensive. So
Hmm.
these small spaces, facilities that we're talking about, this is the way to keep the cost down,
Yeah.
because you don't need to maintain as much property. You don't
Right.
need to own as much
Equipment,
land and equipment and
staffing. Yeah.
staffing and things like that, so you can keep all of that down.
And you
And
can deliver that to the consumer for a low cost. So
yes,
a Sunnydale down in Brockville, for an example, there's a good example of a short course, small, perfect for a beginner. It's got a range, but it's in a smaller space. So yeah, again, less staff, and you can deliver it for a price that's less than what people might. Not everybody can afford $120 rounds of golf. So they want to be involved with golf, but so it needs to be cost friendly on both sides, both for the business and for the consumer as well.
yeah, no, I agree. So I guess what are some of the other questions? You know, uh, is it good for urban and good for urban and rural? I see no reason why it's geographically determinate.
Restricted. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
I live in a rural area out here.
Hmm.
If there was well, I mean, perfect example. So one of the golf courses that I'm a member at is Metcalf Golf Club, which
Right.
is not too far from my house.
Yeah.
They have an 18-hole golf course, which is
The
championship length
main
golf course, or the
course.
main
Yeah.
course, and then they have a 9-hole course, which is also a full length golf course.
Hmm.
It's not an executive, it's not a pitch and putt, it's not a par three.
Sure.
But that 9-hole golf course starts at the clubhouse and stays close to the clubhouse and loops back to the clubhouse.
Hmm.
Whereas the 18-hole golf course, then the first 9 holes finishes halfway out. The second 9 holes starts halfway out and comes back to the
Right.
clubhouse. So I never play the 18-hole golf course.
Yeah. Because
Never, like unless it's an event.
It's probably a time factor.
It
Right?
is.
Yeah.
So I can go over at 6 o'clock at night, play the 9-hole golf course in an hour and a half.
Yeah. I mean, realistically,
That's
if you start to think of the market and how it is, and you start to think of people's work schedules, family schedules, commitments for lots of other activities besides golf, it's very difficult for somebody to carve out 6 hours, because let's face it, even if the round is 4.5 hours, you've got to get there, you've got to get back, you sit and eat afterwards, whatever the case is. So, people can carve out a smaller bit of time out of their day and still stay involved with the sport. So that's, what you're saying there is that 9-hole golf course delivers.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if whether you're in a community of 1,000 or 1,000,000, time constraints are still there for everyone. And
Yeah.
especially as the market grows. And if you want to grow the market, you've got to make it accessible to more people, which means you've got to make it accessible to more people who have restricted time, not the people that already have the leisurely time. Maybe they're retired or whatever to spend all the time out there. And the people that generally have less time are, students, just younger professionals that are developing their careers, have families, things like that. So you've got to provide opportunities, because if you don't, they're never going to get to be the golfer that's the 60-year-old who's the full member at a private club where they're golfing every day and hanging out. So this is a long-term issue more than a short-term
Yeah.
issue. It's both, but it is definitely for the long-term growth. This is very important to be looked at right now, because if it doesn't happen, the game could struggle in the future and could stall, and all the growth that we're having right now could just disappear.
Well, it worries me. What worries me is that, and I know we're far removed from COVID at this point, and I hate to
Yeah,
bring up a bad word, but
sure, but
I think that if we look back to that growth when we had COVID, and
yeah,
the growth of the game during that period was significant.
right.
And we first of all, we ask ourselves, had
Why?
COVID never hit at all,
Mm,
and the industry had just continued to go, where would we be at right now? Because I can tell you that I don't
yeah,
have a crystal ball, and I can't go back in time and say what if, but
right.
I can say with very high levels of certainty, based on what I've learned and seen the trend in the industry over the 30 years that we've been doing Flagstick,
Mhm.
um, that we would be in a really bad place right now.
I agree.
I don't think we would be in a good spot at all. I think we're seeing some golf courses shutting down, albeit for reasons maybe
Yeah,
not specific to industry,
right.
and maybe specific to industry. But I think we'd be seeing a lot more golf courses struggling or going out of business or selling to bigger companies who want it for other reasons, whether it's land or otherwise. I think COVID gave the industry a bump
Hmm.
and an opportunity. And I feel that a lot of golf courses, I'm not saying all, so don't everybody get your underpants in a knot here. I was going
Knickers.
to say
Your
um,
knickers.
knickers in a knot. It's the bee's knees. But I think that a lot of golf courses took advantage of COVID
Hmm.
financially,
Sure.
which is their right to do so,
Yeah.
and not looked at it as an opportunity
Hmm.
to fuel or to grow
To
the
prepare for the
industry as
future.
a whole, to prepare
Yeah.
long term, because
Yeah.
I see what I see,
Hmm.
and there can be people, golf course owners association, whoever can argue with me with all their studies that they do. um I'm not saying they're all um not true. I'm
Hmm.
saying that they can do all the studies they want. I see the tee sheets.
Hmm.
I see the people on the golf course. I
Well,
talk to people. We're not we're not trending upwards.
so here's
We're
here's a good example. Just a report just came out that talked about the rounds this year comparatively and a growth factor, whatever. But the underlying thing was the weather had a lot to do with it. It was said within it, but a lot of people will read the headline. So, there was a growth in certain things in certain areas, but it was more weather dependent. So we can't be dependent on the weather if you're the industry. You have to have other factors that are driving the business and driving growth in the business and driving sustainability in the business. And when we go back to it, these are some of the core issues that are here, and these are the things that need to be looked at long term. And that's why the RNA is looking at it and spending money on it and saying, hey, you know what, especially in the areas that are high golf, as in the UK, United States, Canada, Japan. These are areas that, there's already a lot of core golfers that are there. So they
Mhm.
already have a foundation to work from.
Yeah.
But if that is going to be built on, you can't be dependent on exactly what you're talking about. You can't be built on bumps that you're not responsible for.
Yeah.
And the Kingdom of Golf in America, which was a book that came out that talked about all the cycles, all the different years and all the factors that created growth in golf, be it TV, economic stuff. Those factors are always going to be there. But the thing is that you want to control your own fate, and the
Yep.
way to control your own fate is to look at the long term, how you're going to meet the needs of the client that is out there and the future client within the environments that are there, by creating the facilities and the experiences that is going to attract them long term.
I agree. I
So
agree.
I think the study is important for people to kind of look at. It's a 40-page guide that you go at. I think some of the footprints that are in there are, like we've talked about pitch and putts and stuff like that. It's convertible spaces. It's spaces that you can convert from a range to a golf course. It's basically ones that will complement facilities that are out there now, be standalone,
Hmm.
or also affect or help as many different people as possible. So,
Yep.
in other words, whether you're just starting in the game, whether you want to hit a golf ball in a safe environment indoors into a screen where you're getting the video game effect or whatever,
Yep.
you got to hit as many different demographics as possible in hopes to hook those people in and keep them involved in the game. So more diversity within the facilities will lead to long-term growth within the game, I believe.
Okay. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
I kind of am glad we brought up this topic because I think I think there's something here that needs to be discussed a little bit more long term.
sure. Yeah.
Um,
Now this
and
study, we have this study up on our website on
yes,
flagstick.com.
yeah,
If you want to go there, the PDF is there. If you want to download it to read it, it's available. And I would suggest, whether you're in the golf industry or just a golfer or have any type of interest, just have a read through it, and it might provoke a lot of thoughts for you for sure.
no, I agree. I'd be curious to see if anybody, if anybody looks at, even the National Capital Region, because we are, it's a big area.
Right. Huge area. It's, one of
I
the
wonder
largest urban centers in
if
North
anybody
America.
looks at it as as a business opportunity, because I mean, look, I'm not Mr. Moneybags here, so I'm not about to. It's still going to cost a fair amount of money
Mm-hmm.
to build
Sure.
something like this, but
Yeah.
if I'm looking at getting into the golf industry now, this is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at. I'm not looking at building an 18-hole championship length golf course that
Mm-hmm.
unless there's something extremely unique about it
Yeah.
that's going to draw a lot of people
Well, we're
to it from
certainly
outside.
we're certainly seeing some facilities look at it more. And I mean, Falcon Ridge is a great example. I mean, obviously they're a sponsor here, but when you look at it and they're looking at, the range and gamifying the range, having a short course, having a full length course. I mean, it's not that facilities in the area are not looking at it. It's just going, okay, why is it important? Is it, not just a slight add-on? This is the core part of your business. And, we've lost some small space golf in the National Capital
Yeah,
Region, as most urban areas in Canada have. But if you look at a place like Vancouver, the Stanley Park Pitch and Putt is like one of the most successful facilities. So, there's a future for this, and if people put some thought into it, they'll realize that this is a way to have success. And for those who have traditional 18-hole golf courses, can't look at it as a threat. You have to look at it as a way that you can enhance your business. And then if it's not part of your business, see it as something that is going to help the industry as a whole and is going to be an incubator to help your facility, have customers in
yeah.
the end. So it's better for everyone.
There you go. Okay. I like that topic. See, that's a few weeks in a row where we've had some pretty good little discussions.
There's lots to have, that's for sure. This industry is full of them, that's for sure. And the thing is that the more that we have these discussions, the more people are thinking about it. And then we could find that person that has the budget and be starting to think about this and put this together.
Well, I certainly think with the millions of listeners around the world that we have to this podcast, that we might be able to
99 countries now. We've had downloads in 99 countries.
And although we talk about, although we do this via video and post it on YouTube,
audio.
Our audience is audio mostly, we do have a rather large audio following, even though we don't have the largest video following.
Nobody wants to see our faces.
No, if I dressed up and wore a suit and tie and shaved once in a while, people would pay attention. But I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Maybe if I stood up at my microphone in a tank top and dropped the F-bomb every 5 minutes, people would pay attention more. Video? No. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up for this edition of the Flagstick podcast. I want to thank all of our sponsors: Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this weekend for the next bunch of weeks, Cobra Golf, and the new King Tech X one-length irons designed for a wide variety of handicaps. The King Tech and King Tech X irons deliver the ultimate combination of performance, precision, power, and forgiveness in every swing. Find a local fitter today for a better ball striking experience. Visit cobragolf.ca to learn more. Well, we certainly do hope that you're enjoying watching, but mostly hearing what we're talking about. Be sure to follow us across all social media network, Instagram, X, and Facebook, TikTok, and subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, and click the little notification bell to make sure you never miss a single episode or anything that we post up there. And get over to flagstick.com if you haven't already for more amazing golf content delivered every single day. Be sure to subscribe to Flagstick Digest, our newsletter, and get all this great information sent to your inbox 3 days a week. But as always, we do appreciate you tuning in. But until next week, I am Jeff Potter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stay.